this is Michael Uslan. You're listening to Batman on Film.
I'm vengeance.
I have given a name to my pain.
The Batman.
Always waiting for some Batman to save you.
It's simple. We kill the Bat of Gotham. I'm Batman.
Welcome to episode number 83 of the Batman on Film Social Hour podcast. I am the founder of Batman on Film, Bill Ramey, and we're back for another edition of the Batman chapter by chapter. We're going to be talking about chapter 9, which I believe, boys, we've come to an agreement, or we have come to a consensus that This Guy's Crazy is a good title for chapter 9 of this film. Micah, Ramey, and Ryan Lauer, welcome to the show.
Hello, I do think that is a perfect title for this chapter.
I would also concur that is a
Okay.
great title for this chapter.
Yes. So we'll be discussing the 9th chapter of the film. The chapters, we base them on the Blu-ray. So if you have a problem with how the chapters are split up, send your complaints to Warner Brothers Home Video. We did not chapter this film. We did not divide it up, but we are naming them, and I think we've been pretty good, right, Ryan? Don't you think the chapters, titles we've come up with have been pretty
Absolutely.
good so far? Yeah.
And Warner Brothers is accepting any and all complaints and reaching out to everyone who writes in on complaints right now too. So if you want to
Yes.
write in a complaint,
Yeah.
now's the time. They're listening.
Yep. All right. So let's just get. Let me ask you, Ryan, first. After watching, we talked about in the last show, we thought that we were discussing whether or not chapter 8 was the chapter itself was kind of a weird. There were like 3 settings and all that. That after watching chapter 9, it makes sense where they left off from chapter 8 and to the beginning of chapter 9. To you,
It's a cleaner cut. They almost could have split this into 2 chapters, I think. But I don't know. Warner Brothers needs somebody to create their chapter breakdowns for Blu-ray. Give me a call. I'm affordable.
I'll say that, I thought, why did they go into the beginning of that warehouse, the drops by scene, and then they end it? But where this picks up, it's, where the Penguin, hey, vengeance, you think you can come take my money or steal my money or whatever, come after my money, whatever he says, and he's not there, and then it's right there is when the Batmobile is revving up. So it's it's the very beginning of the Batmobile scene. So
Yeah.
I thought that chapter 8 was its contents were okay, much made more sense with the way chapter 9 started. So let's roll. The Batmobile is revving up. How awesome is that scene?
You've heard me say it, I don't know how many times, Bill, of how giddy I was in that theater the first viewing. And I even looked at my lady next to me, and I know I looked like a total nerd of like, oh my, is it going? Like waiting for that thing, because I think it all measures up. I think it's edited perfectly to build up as he comes around and he sees he's not there and there's disappointment. And then you can see over his shoulder the and then it's the total Christine, which we know Reeves has mentioned he was going for, and then the music, and then the constant cutting, like Penguin, Batmobile, Selina, Gordon, Batmobile, back and forth to all of them as that music is just building. And then my goodness.
They should have had. They should have right then. They should have had a scene that cuts to Bach, and he goes, "You son of a bitch! You son of a bitch!"
Or better yet, it's revving up and it's cutting to everybody. Insert really quick Savage. What the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
And then you keep going.
So Micah,
give us your impression. Let's hear it.
when the Batmobile's revving up, that whole scene, it's really it does reek of Christine, doesn't it? As well.
Yeah, it was one of the most euphoric experiences I've ever had in a movie theater, especially when it comes to audio design. I mean, I watched it for the first time with you, so I don't know if you looked over at me, but my eyes were super wide. I was losing my mind when that Batmobile starts up, because you've never heard a sound like that with a Batmobile, but as soon as you hear it, you know exactly what it is, which I think is really cool. It's something incredibly unique, yet still very familiar in a way. And I mean, if you guys haven't watched it, Dolby did like a 2-part series on the audio and the cinematography of the Batman, and they interview like all the sound engineers and everything. And the guy who created the sound for the Batmobile, Will Files, used a bottle rocket. It was like a 1 second long bottle rocket clip that he took, and he put it in this this program, which just stretched it out by 800%. And then he just took it and like edited it around and created that whole sound. And then I think he threw in a 72 Bronco and an 80s Bronco and combined all these sounds together to make it. But yeah, I mean, the Batmobile startup, it's incredible. I love the blue flames coming off, and just as Batman comes out of the shadows, the Batmobile comes out of the shadows. It's awesome.
It's kind of like almost like an animal on a chain, where it's kind of jumping and it's being held back, and it looks like, I mean, obviously Batman put it together himself, and it feels like, does he completely have this thing under control? Because it's just like it could, it's just like explode as well, because it's got the flame and there's, sparks and lights coming from the hood. It's just really awesome.
Also, like, how high can that noise get? Where it's like,
yeah,
it just keeps going to where, I mean, it totally explains. Like, I was about to, burst a gasket as I'm sitting there going, "Hey, come on, take off, let's go."
Yeah. Everyone that told me that they waited for the movie to come out on HBO Max and watched it at home, like, I just instantly thought of how, like, I felt bad for them that they couldn't experience that scene in a theater, because that scene alone is meant to be like, you got to have a surround sound, like incredible sound system to really understand and feel that vibe.
3 of my personal best 7 viewings were in IMAX. 1 was in Dolby. Perfection. Like, my God.
What if the sound guy had taken Bach singing,
"Oh my gosh,"
and put that in a program and mixed it in with bottle rockets and vintage muscle cars?
Firing up here, building up, and be like, "You son of a bitch." I don't know. I think they could do it. Get a good sound engineer, and that would work well.
And then what if Mr. Freeze had showed up, Ryan, at that warehouse? He was just there looking for diamonds.
Yeah, he's still there. Everybody's looking at that, like, what is that? And he's in the background, just, where are my diamonds? Gotham, it's full of characters.
Jesus.
Okay, so well, the Penguin bails out. That look on Colin Farrell's face as the Penguin when he's just staring at the Batmobile, and it's like a mixture of what the WTF and just fear and panic. And he panics. He just bolts and hauls ass to his car and tells Kinsey, take the money, get the money.
Yeah.
And it seems like he ditches him.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that was the moment he realized that Batman is so much more than what he thought he was.
Yeah.
Because at first time he meets him in the Iceberg Lounge, he doesn't really take him that seriously. He doesn't really seem threatened by Batman.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, great point.
But then this second time, it's like something otherworldly is happening. He doesn't really understand it.
Well, it's different because he still isn't fully intimidated by him, because especially with how he acts as the scene plays out in the car.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, we'll get to a point where I think he kind of shits himself, basically. But yeah, I don't know. There's a little caught off guard, and I mean, I do love as it cuts to. I think you see a little bit. Do you think this is the first time that we see where Selena is, like, I think, a little scared? Because I think as Penguin's approaching the vehicle and cuts to her, I think she does look a little like.
I noticed that this morning. I made note of that. Yeah,
and then she changes and Gordon changes when that fires up, because at least Penguin's looking, and I think he's able to see what that is, whereas the other two characters are like, what? What is that?
That shot of the Penguin is also one of those shots, Lauer, that it makes his nose look like it's like the hook nose comic book type, just I don't know, it's the shadow, I don't know what, but that scene, that's got to be a little intentional, huh?
Has to be, because we mentioned it one of the earlier chapters too, of there, it just looks like certain angles, and especially like in the rain, I think, when there's like a one drop of rain at the end of the nose, with, I don't know what you call that in your lip, where there is that divot underneath your nose, whatever, but there is that straight on, it looks like he's got the long penguin nose that we know too. So, I don't know, this looked like it.
They could have cut the scene that's so brief. They could have left out, because the Batmobile chases started. They could have just went with that, but they did leave in Selena taking a bag of the money. And it comes into play, and mainly because it comes into play later, the money, when talking about Falcone and all that. So I'm glad that we actually see her. Plus, she takes one bag and takes off, and then it's just full on.
And then I think we see that bag at the very end too.
Yes.
And which is where I do think, I don't know, because the Batman sequel's in jeopardy. But in the sequel, if we see her, we can see her with a developed suit now, because she's financed. She's got money now.
She's got that.
I think
she's got that bag on her motorcycle when she's heading off to Bloodhaven at the end.
Exactly. So I think that's cool. And then also we get a really awesome, justifiable shot of the leg sweep on Mackenzie.
Yeah.
She just takes him out. Or Kenzie, not Mackenzie. Mackenzie Bach. That's not who I'm talking about. Mackenzie.
She just stays bullying Mackenzie that whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. So we get to the Batmobile chase, and it's really great. And Pattinson says nothing. So all his acting is with his eyes and his just body movements. And whereas, and he's like driven, and I, no pun intended, because he's driving the Batmobile, but he is chasing, he is going to get the Penguin. And he is, and it's the eye thing. He's watching, because there's someone, they're going into oncoming traffic and crossing over barriers, and looks like he's having to think a step or two ahead, driving wise. And the Penguin, I think Farrell is great in this. The way he keeps looking in the rearview mirror and in the side mirror, and he's just his panic is building, up until he rams that 18-wheeler and thinks he's gotten away. So what's those thoughts on all that? Just the chase.
We did see a lot of shots within the chase in the trailers. But what I love, and I think where it really sits in, because as he hops in the car and he takes off from the docks, it's just I need to get away. And then, as you said, the panic starts to set in.
Mm-hmm.
When they are side by side and he fires his gun and shoots out his window, and then can see that he doesn't damage the Batmobile window or break the Batmobile window at all, or get it off course. And we saw in the trailer where it is, mixed with the rain and kind of like the shattering glass, but then Batman's face just does come into focus to Penguin. And then I just love it cuts to Penguin, who stops shooting. And then his face does, like, that moment is like, shit, like,
Yeah.
I'm in trouble now. And
he's,
it's so small.
come on,
I
come on.
it.
He's,
And
he's
yeah,
like
that and the constant, like, and he makes even some noise like, come on, it's awesome.
Yes.
I think you did a good job, Lauer, pointing that out. There's like gradual steps within that Batmobile chase scene where you can see Penguin's panic begin to grow. Like when he crashes into that one car, and the camera cuts to his rearview mirror perspective, and you see the Batmobile rearing, coming in the distance, and he's slamming on this or trying to get away. And I think one of my favorite parts, just whole sequence, is just incredible audio design. And I think Reeves does a really good job of cutting off the music and just hearing like what's going on. But that scene where Penguin's trapped between those vehicles and he slams on his brake and he goes, I remember, I don't know how many times I saw it several times in the movies, but every time I watched, you could hear audible gasp throughout the theater. People were like just on the edge of their seat, panicking along with Penguin. It's an adrenaline rush, but that scene is incredible. And the Batmobile hit him slamming on the brakes, slamming into the car behind him, and Jesus Christ.
He rear ends that 18-wheeler and causes him to flip, and he gets past it, and he's looking, and he starts to celebrate because he would see the explosions, and then it comes back to Batman, and we know, I guess, but kind of through Batman's eyes, that you got that ramp kind of from the 18-wheeler, like the, what is it, like a car when you load cars onto an 18-wheeler type of setup, and he just accelerates and then jumps.
That, like, 3 levels of audio there, like,
yeah
like that. Oh man,
It's incredible. Yeah.
And so
I like
Penguin,
wanted to stand up in that theater, just go
and go, "Hey, son of a bitch!"
Yeah, exactly. You did it, you son of a bitch.
So the Penguin is like, he's celebrating. I got you, you freaking psycho! I got you. And there's the Batmobile coming through the flames, and just the look on his face when he sees
additional touch, which I know we also saw, or I don't know if we saw the close up in one of the trailers, but I think we did in that last trailer. But how it is like he sees it, and then it's a close up of him turning around and looking, and there's the look on his face there is like, Adam, that's another evolution part of him of like, oh shit, I'm done. This guy's crazy.
Yeah. And the Batmobile rams the Penguin mobile.
I love the camera attached to the Batmobile.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. Surprisingly not a complete unanimous support on that. I think it's great. I do. So this is in Batmobile chases. I feel like this is a small scale Batmobile chase. But I mean, also, if you think about it, go back and think about it too. I mean, 89 also, I mean, it was on a lot, and just through, I think Batman versus Superman, the Batmobile chase was, by an abandoned section of Gotham, by a port. So none of them are like, this huge scale, all these buildings exploding or whatever. But I just feel like it is kind of small and on a freeway. But I think Reeves kept everything. So in this case, the camera was attached. I don't want to say like intimate, but kept the scope small, and we're in the scope to where it almost feels not claustrophobic, but like intense. I think by keeping it really close together, it does feel a lot more intense. And it's a very busy freeway with so many vehicles and obstructions, and our view is really small to where we're
Yeah.
attached with it of going through, take this on head on, blast through this. And I love that. And especially, and I know we saw it in the trailer, but as the Batmobile, skids to the side, and then the way we see Penguin's car come into view and
I was
flipping, I'm like, for F's sake, man.
I was going to ask y'all, do y'all like that how they have the camera set in the Penguin's car and as he's flipping,
Mhm.
we get that, you know what I'm saying, that point of view of you don't see him spinning, but
Cars
you know what I'm
flipping
talking
end
about,
over
right?
end.
Yeah.
Kind of.
That he's flipping, but it's stationary. The shot,
Yeah.
his things are, dropping and falling, because it's flipping over, and he comes to an end, and then that look on his face out the window as he stares at the flames and the Batmobile behind him. And let
The
me ask you,
Western walk.
okay,
Oh,
I
God.
wrote this down, and I want to know what y'all think. He's watching. There's a little musical, there's a little riff right when Batman starts walking. It sounds exactly like an old Western.
Very intentional.
That, yeah. And I did listen for the Spurs, Lauer.
Got him, right?
I still hear a little
bit.
I mean, it's a little bit. And there's also a little bit of this, not only from a Western, but also there's a little bit of horror. It's like, he is the monster, coming to get you.
He's inevitable.
Yeah. So that part may be, God, it's hard to say it's my favorite. This scene, that could be my favorite part. Just, there's no more chase going on, but this Batman just coming and just walk. He doesn't run.
Man. Then the kneel down. The kneel down got laughs half the time that I saw it in theater. And I too think that it's awesome. And it is like it's unintentionally funny, but not in the way of, not in a negative.
Yes.
Like it's a full on positive, and it's
Yes.
just kind of funny of like
The way he bent,
you little worm, you tried getting away, but look at this.
Yeah.
The Batman was coming. The Batman's here.
Yep. Micah?
No, I wrote all three of those things down for my notes. Western, when that twang, that guitar prick is so badass. I love how Penguin, he's getting his shit together, and as soon as he looks out, Batman's already out of the car. He's already like walking toward him.
Yeah.
But then the boots is, oh man, it's so badass, and that thumping. I also wrote in my notes too that it was very much like he's like a Michael Myers type character. He's unkillable. Doesn't matter what you do, he's gonna come back. And Penguin, the look on his face is that final step where he finally realizes, okay, this guy is something else. This isn't just another average person. This guy's, it's almost like a mythical aspect to Batman and how terrified he is. And I love the kneel down. It is funny, Lauer, like you said, it's funny in a good way where it's like, you tried to escape, but I got you. You're not getting away from me.
I laughed because it's such an awesome scene. It's exactly that. And the look on this, and also combined with the look on the Penguin's face, Farrell's awesome in this scene. Just the complete horrified look on his face especially when Batman's bending, and looking in. And so then it cuts straight to, poof, they pull the hood off, and it's the detective team back together, Gordon and Batman.
Which at the initial hood pulling off, I think Penguin seems scared and kind of whimperish. And then he also changes that pretty fast. And then even though he now at this point, he's kind of tied up and he doesn't exactly know where he is, and he's got the two guys interrogating him. I think he stands his ground. Yeah. Which is also it's an intriguing character trait, I think.
It's then what's this? Good cop, batshit cop.
Batshit cop. I love
great
that line.
So Gordon and Batman they both think that he is the rat,
Mm-hmm.
and they're trying to get him to confess.
And this is where his his inner, I don't know, maybe his inner Jersey comes out or something, and he's like, "No, if I couldn't do to me, if you heard this kind of talk,
And
this
it's
talk and walk, and and
I
everything with that is oh my gosh, this is his scene.
I want to
think.
know. I wrote this down. I want to know what y'all think. I wrote Colin Farrell is great in this scene because he truly comes across like with Batman and Gordon, like, what the hell are y'all talking about?
Yeah.
What the hell are y'all talking about? Did y'all get that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're linking everything together. Like they're on the right track. They just have the wrong guy, and Penguin is just so flabbergasted he doesn't even know what's going on. I mean, he's still shell shocked from almost dying in that car crash. But then I think he starts gaining confidence because he's like, "Oh, these guys don't know what they're talking about."
They don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's where,
exactly.
yeah.
I think
And
that's a
boy,
good
you
point.
guys are a hell of a duet here. And start harmonizing.
World's greatest detectives.
Yep.
And then, of
And
course, as we all know, go ahead. I
No,
got
I
where you're
just-
gonna go.
When
When he
I
says,
ain't no rat. Yeah.
"Yeah," and I ain't no rat, and then definitely, oh my god, I love it. Gordon shows him of a rat. He's like, "Come on, what are you showing me? Come on,"
Yeah.
like that. Oh my gosh. And oh man, Farrell, I don't care that I am such a Batman guru. I think like tell me that this guy doesn't deserve a lot of recognition for his performance in the movie.
Yeah.
Don't care the genre, don't care that it's a Batman movie. Like watch him and tell me that he isn't magnetic to the eye whenever he's on screen.
Yeah, for sure. I love the part when he shows him, Savage. You get a quick look at Savage, the damage, it's really quick. And then they play that recording of Savage going, what the hell is going on here?
Oh yeah.
It was real
It
quick.
fits with the scene. Fits the scene. Perfect.
That's the first thing he said after he woke up, after Riddler knocking him out.
So, and at that point, then the whole thing about that's the worst spinach I ever heard,
Ever
What
Hoyd.
Goyle. Yeah, Hoyd.
Whatever
What
Hoyd.
Goyle.
Goyle.
And that whole thing, when Batman snaps URL Alada Errata or whatever it is. And Batman you can see the wheels turning in his head,
Am I the only one who knows the difference between L and La?
Yeah.
And he's just start harmonizing, and he's like, "No habla español, señoritos."
I just love a rat with wings. You know what that sounds like to me? A freaking bat.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
Batman at that point is you can see it.
The
He's
wheels
looking,
are turning.
He's
Yeah.
completely ignoring Penguin. I love it.
And he's like, Gordon's like, well, maybe he made a mistake. And Batman's like, he doesn't make mistakes.
Mhm.
URL. And he gets it. It's a website, it's a website. And that's, I guess, is that okay? And it's probably insignificant. Is this Batman's little laptop or is it Gordon? I don't, it doesn't matter. But anyway, they log in and they go to that website just by Batman's hunch, figuring out that's Batman doing a little more detective work. Is it in every daggum scene now? Is there some sort of detective work? What's our count now? Is it 9 scenes in a row?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a detective.
And so they are having a conversation with the Penguin.
Mhm.
Not the Penguin. I'm sorry, the Riddler. Gordon do a Jesus Christ. Did he do that in this scene too? When the Penguin logs on, the Penguin. I'm talking about the Penguin the whole time.
He's on your mind.
When Nashton, the Riddler, logs on and is responding to them. He tells him, did you get the rat? And maybe is a penguin a rat with wings? They're having this chat, for lack of a better term. And then finally you're missing the big picture. And he gives him the hint, my next victim is the biggest piece of the puzzle yet. And Batman types in victim dead. He will be soon. And then the Riddler gives him a clue. I grew up from a seed, tough as a weed, but in a mansion in a slum. I'll never know where I come from. Do you know what I am? And Batman gets it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously.
He's an orphan. And he puts it, then he realizes the location. I mean, where they need to go. So I'll talk about that.
I mean, and that's where I do think seeing cuts on a chapter by chapter, that's a good spot to cut.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, make you continue. But I like this in the sense we get Riddler's theme with this, and I do really like the choices that Reeves makes and has made during the movie of we're not following the development of the Riddler. It's not cut to him in his apartment as he's typing, or we're not even seeing like his little, it seems like the 90s loved to have people's fingers typing on keyboards. We never cut to that. We're with Batman's side viewing all of this. And so the music of that, the fact that the Riddler's there, but he's not physically there, continues to help build this mystique of the Riddler. And I think continues to build like the threatening, his threat in the movie.
Yeah. It's, do you see, is it me reading too much into it, or do y'all see like when Batman realizes it's something to do with the Waynes? It's, the orphanages, his old Wayne Manor. And of course we know he's Bruce Wayne. So is Batman starting to go, okay, this is starting to get close to home here for somehow. He knows exactly where the Riddler was referring to, or a mansion, a slum. He knows that it's gone to shit, when they get there. But
before we get into the orphanage, I didn't get that. I got it as he seemed very direct in the sense of an orphan, the old orphanage that burned. Like, it's just like, okay, so this is the answer. He's talking about here. That's where we need to go. And then the next chapter is where I feel what you just said of it's a little too close.
Yeah, maybe since I've seen it so many times that I'm starting, knowing where it goes next is leading to that. But we know where they're going.
Spoiler alert, Bill.
Yeah.
Yes, we know where they're going. Because
Yeah.
Gordon, it's when Batman realizes that's where they need to be. Gordon's like, let's go. But as we end this, Colin Farrell and the Penguin has one last great moment in this scene. Yes? No?
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe? Okay.
Absolutely. And again, in
So
a
y'all just get y'all
creepy
one of y'all
music.
describe it since I've described. Yes.
Creepy music, but yeah, I think that's why the humor worked for me well in this movie, because it wasn't like, hey, here's a joke. It's, you guys still realize, I don't know what he says, like, I'm still here, or something like that. He puts his hands up with the cuffs and then starts to waddle.
Yeah.
And then the cuts way out of their location. Batmobile takes off. He's still waddling. And then Gordon's car starts taking off. He's like, "You goddamn sons of bitches!"
It's great.
It's hilarious.
Yeah,
I think it's another smart, like, little reference to he is a penguin. Like, he waddles, and then he had at the beginning of the Batmobile, before they go to the warehouse, he had the umbrella.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of small little touches to.
How many people got the nod with the waddle that he was directly referring to? A penguin. That's exactly what that was exactly what Reeves was
I never
doing.
asked. I took it, my lady watched it twice.
You got it though, right, Ryan? I mean, you knew exactly
right
what
away.
it was. Yeah, and so did Micah, I'm sure. Yeah, right, Micah? Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to be like, you know, that always goes around, the Leo DiCaprio image from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the can of beer
Yeah.
and the point. It's
Yeah.
like when he waddled, I was like that in the theater. Like, ah, he's waddling a penguin.
But I
Look
love
around.
it.
Did you guys get it? Did you guys get that?
Yeah.
I
You
feel like that went
sons
over a
of
lot of people's heads
bitches.
more than
Yeah.
likely.
Which it's fine. I mean, it's there if you want to point it out of like it's cool, and if not, and that's the point. That's how it needs to be of, but it's not distracting and takes you out of it either.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
just happening there. Take it or leave it. It means nothing. Or he's just like, you know, from someone who doesn't think of the penguin waddle. It's like, well, his legs are, you know, bound, his hands are bound, and he's trying to get them like, hey, they could play it completely straight too, of like he's trying to get their attention, like, hey, you sons of bitches, I'm still hello. And I think that totally works too. For us, we just get a little extra seasoning on it,
Yeah.
because it is like, guys, like, wah, 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 wah.
It would have been very cringe if you would have been like, "You guys gonna leave me waddling here like a penguin?"
Yeah.
That would have
Yeah.
been
Yes,
oh,
that would have been very
cringe.
cringe. Yeah. Yeah. So I like it's subtle, and maybe not everybody got it. Fans did. Batman fans
Mhm.
did. General
Yeah.
audience, I don't know. I guess I could
It's
ask
funny
Rachel
regardless.
if she got it. It is. It's funny. So, all right, that's going to end chapter 9. What are your let me ask y'all this for wrap it up. Best Batmobile chase, Batmobile scene in a Batman movie, or where does it rank? Where would y'all rank it as personally, just your own?
It's close with me with the Batman Begins Batmobile introduction. I just love that. You had a car, I brought mine. I love that iconic Batmobile chase scene, but just overall production and stunt work and the music and the acting and just the camera work, I think it's overall the best. It's just an adrenaline rush from start to finish. I think the Batmobile startup is gonna go down as one of the most iconic Batman scenes ever. I am obsessed with that scene. Some of the best, and I think this whole entire sequence just highlights how good the sound design in this movie is. It's the best, I think. Some of the best in the entire movie, but overall Batmobile scene, yeah, I would probably put it at 1 right at the top. I think it has to be.
What do you think, Ryan?
It's not at the top for me. I have zero complaints about it, but the couple that it's behind, I have zero complaints about as well. So it's in an elite class, for sure, of Batmobile chases. I don't have to sit there and, so just like the other one. So the Dark Knight the Tumblr / Batpod scene is probably my favorite. Batman Begins, because that's the Tumblr showcase, is awesome. 89, because I mean that one, I love the Batmobile. And this one, it's like I don't have to hesitate to think what all happened in those Batmobile scenes. It's like, oh yeah, the Batmobile scene in Begins. I'm like, yep, TDK, 89, now that like the Batman's like, yep, doing this and this and this and this, and it does feel a little, I don't know, there's almost like a stop and think for other Batmobile chases outside of those 4. So like,
You almost forget about the Dark Knight because it's a lot of Batpod, you know. But yeah, man, you bringing that up, that's, you know, with the 18-wheeler flip and the Batpod going in and out underneath the 18-wheeler to bring it up.
The scene evolves to where it is like, well, we have a big semi chase. We're chasing a semi. How do we make sure that we keep it interesting? Oh, because halfway through we blow up the Batmobile. But still get a new vehicle out of that, and then it takes off for the back half of that scene. So I know it's not the Batmobile the entire scene, but I mean it's part of the Batmobile for the back half. So that's why that one stays. It stays my favorite. And to knock off a favorite, it's like there's got to be time and a lot of rewatchings. Maybe it moves up. I don't know, in some more time, but I mean it's no slight against it, because I think that it's awesome. I wouldn't change a thing in this Batmobile scene.
I'm not knocking any of them. I enjoy them. This one maybe I really like a lot of the reasons that Micah brought up, and just the back and forth between the Penguin's reaction and Batman and all of that combined, and then you get that Western / horror look with Batman walking. I mean, I just with the flames behind him, it's just
it starts and ends so epically.
Yeah. So, and that's not, like some people think if this comes out, you can't like what came before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can like it all. This is just another great addition to a great, if you take, Batman movie, Batmobile / Bat Pod, if you want, chase scenes. Yeah, they're all pretty damn good. Even 89, for as limited as they were with, and what makes that is that, the scene was just when he's heading back to the Batcave, and it's just him and Vicky Bell. Descent into mystery.
Oh yeah.
So not to get off any tangents, I could really feel that brewing with Batmobile chase scenes. All right, so let's finish up. Y'all can go ahead and plug. Let's see, Micah, go ahead and plug whatever you like.
Okay, you can watch my stuff on YouTube. Ramey Review. It's that simple. That's all I got.
Ramey Review. Okay, that's it.
Well, if you're that interested in me as a human, you can use that to find me on other platforms, primarily just Twitter, which I'm just using to follow Dick Shoes.
Okay. All right. All right, Ryan.
Go to batmanonfilm.com for latest episode reviews, which was with White Knight Red Hood tie-in written by Clay McCormick. Coming up next will be the main Batman title. It's Chip Zdarsky. Also check out the BOF podcast link, because with Ryan Haas helped launch a new BOF podcast, Batman Animation, and the BOF podcast itself. The last episode, Sean Murphy returned to Batman on Film and talked, which is an awesome discussion. That guy's awesome. Check those out, and then also my podcast, the Batman Book Club. Bill generously posts those on the website as well. Most recent episode is with writer I just mentioned, Clay McCormick, and coming up next is Boudin Pockets himself, Peter Vera. We're going to do the monthly wrap up of Batman comics in August. That'll be dropping next week for sure. Follow the show at the Batman BC on Twitter.
Micah, is your favorite animated Batman series Batman Beyond?
Yes. I don't know.
Okay.
I can't believe you knew that. Yeah.
Yes, I know that.
I think you're lying.
Instantly.
When
I was thinking.
we watched a lot of Batman Beyond when they were little. So that means that you need to do a Batman animation show with some of your favorite episodes of Batman Beyond, because right, Howard?
Yeah.
It's a Batman on Film. It's a BOF joint, right? Explain
Team
it,
BOF
Ryan,
joint.
real quick. Explain it. What
Batman
this was kinda
Animation.
your thing.
Batman Animation is a Team BOF joint, and what that means is that doesn't mean that there is one particular host every single episode or the same team on every episode. It's going to go all over exploring Batman in animation, which, as you know, is multiple series, multiple movies, and yeah, just taking a look back at some of them. And if you do a Batman Beyond episode, the two or three people that are on each have to bring their own electric guitars and really wail. That's the only requirement for Batman Beyond. So
I'm thinking, I'm not gonna lie, I've been like listening to the theme song over in my head. Darwin Cook actually made that. He edited that.
The music or the title sequence?
The title sequence. I don't think he did the music, but he edited that.
Well, that's where I was gonna be more impressed of, like, oh shit, he was a rocker too.
He actually shredded, and I don't think so.
But that's awesome. I didn't know that.
Beyond. Yeah.
Okay, so there wasn't BS coming out of Bill's mouth when he said that's like your favorite. I mean, it's maybe close up there. Okay, well, I get it. If that was yours, that was on.
That was what I grew up with. Like I watched, the animated series on reruns, but I wasn't there for
Yeah.
you know, the New Adventures a little bit, but Batman Beyond was my jam.
That was your jam. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good show.
I'd be
All
curious
right.
what episode
Mhm.
you'd pick for that.
Do you know what you have one episode right off the bat that's your favorite right off the top?
I mean, the one that comes right off the bat is the film.
Yeah.
Turn of the Joker. I mean, that's incredible. But I guess I'd have to pick an episode. Not off the top
No,
of my
you can
head.
do the
Movies
movie.
count.
Movies count. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just, I mean,
Movies count.
it'll require longer wailing on the.
Are we
electric
getting a
guitar,
Batman
but-
Beyond like animated film, like Into the Spider-Verse? Isn't that happening? Wasn't that a thing at one point? Or
I
no?
think that was like scuttlebutt, something along that lines at one point they talked about, but
And
with
Zack
all the-
Snyder's coming back to direct it, right?
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's the
There you
ticket.
go. Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
You heard it here first.
Yes.
people.
So I'm actually recording a Batman animation tomorrow with Javi
I saw that.
for Brave and the Bold.
Yeah.
The Batman of Planet X.
Yeah. Perfect timing for that episode too. If you read,
Yeah.
if you're reading Batman comics.
Yep. Zur and R. All right. So
when I think Brave and the Bold, all
Yeah.
I think is Batman is not eating nachos.
that's a good one. I love that show. Val, you seen you haven't seen every episode of that, have you?
No. I think I've seen the one that you just talked about too. Because Bill, you and I have talked about, of course, when I brought this up to you, you were just like, God dibs on this one, and this one. But you did mention an episode of Brave and the Bold that I think I have seen, but I don't remember it at all. My constant, let's see, not my constant, my go-to episode for that show every year around Christmas. I don't remember the title, but it's with Red Tornado and the Santa Claus. It's in the first season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Case
talking
of
about.
Secret Santas or whatever. That's the
Yeah.
episode that I know pretty damn well in Brave and the Bold. Otherwise, there aren't a ton. There's what's the one where the Wayne murders and Adam West came back?
That is Chill of the Night.
Chill of the Night, and that one I've seen quite a few times.
Yeah.
So all the other episodes, and that's the thing too. It's comfortable knowing that I have Batman content that's sitting there that I haven't seen. And when I'm ready, I'll go there and watch stuff.
You seen the musical one, the Music Meister episode?
No, it's gonna be
yeah.
That's gonna be tough. I'm not a musical guy.
It's so brilliant. Look, you're gonna get me in a tangent. The whole show when it came out was something I said I will not like this. It's not my thing, and it ends up being my favorite animated series of all. Just
You know what? You learned. You grew as a fan
I did.
from that series. You're like,
I did.
Maybe try it out. It might be for you. Who knows?
Batman does
yeah.
eat nachos.
Yes. All right. So for me, you can just find everything on Batman on Film. I will say that I just did a satellite show with Micah's sister, my daughter Mackenzie, our part 3 of Better Call Saul.
Mackenzie, did she say son of a bitch?
Huh? She did not say you son
Okay.
of a bitch. She did not.
Maybe next time you get her on, you have her give a Bach
I have to
impression
teach her the
for your
voice.
own humor. I just need
Yes.
to hear you say. All Mackenzies need to know.
And
son of a bitch.
I've unleashed a podcast monster, I think, Micah, with your sister, because now she's got all kind of ideas for different Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul podcasts. So I think we're going to do some more of that on the satellite show. in the
Satellite
future.
show series,
Yes.
huh? On the Breaking Bad universe. Nice.
Yeah. Yep. So that was it. Thanks for coming on, y'all, this morning.
Yeah.
This Saturday morning. Ryan, literally got out of bed, put his headphones and turned his microphone on.
Yeah. And I just wake up in Ninja Turtle t-shirts. That's what happens.
Yeah.
So that's all I need.
You have like a Ninja Turtle pole that you just slide down and Ninja Turtle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like the bat pole, but it's Ninja Turtle pole.
Yeah. I usually sleep in flannel pajamas, but on my way down to the computer, I slide down there's a bat pole and then a turtle pole.
Okay.
And today I was just like, you know what? I'm feeling crazy. Let me get my Raphael t-shirt on.
All right. Thanks for listening. We'll be back within a week for part we're at 10. How many we got left?
There's 19. So
10?
we have 10 left.
Yeah,
If
we're
we
at the
do
halfway
credits.
point. Yeah. So yeah,
Which we're gonna Bill. A whole
probably
one just on the credits, reading the credits.
reading the credits. Okay, thanks for listening. Announcer Rachel will plug some more stuff, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to the BOF Social Hour, Jet's official vlog and podcast on Batman on Film. Follow Jet on Twitter at Batman on Film. Follow the BOF newsfeed on Twitter at the Batman on Film. For Jet and everyone at BOF, I'm announcer Rachel. Authoritative, definitive, the original, Batman on Film, established in 1998.